might not believe God, and that's fine. Believe in a God. You might not believe the Bible. That's fine. That means you're an unbeliever. I would ask you to reconsider that. But I want to read one verse to you before we pray. And that is out of the book of James, the first chapter. And James writes in verse 5, "If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given to him." Now, if you ask in faith, it's going to be given. That's a promise. Let's pause right now, and let's ask for wisdom. Our Lord and Father, thank you for your grace. Thank you for your mercy. Thank you for the gift of this day. Father, thank you for the gift of this country. Father, thank you for this republic. Father, thank you for this state. And Father, I ask that you would give each one of us tonight, that you would give us wisdom. Father, we are asking in faith, and we ask that you would give us wisdom to discuss the business that needs to be discussed tonight, to make decisions that need to be made tonight, and do it in wisdom. Father, with what is best for Han County, what is best for the Republican Party in Han County, what is best for this state. Father, we humbly ask that you give us wisdom, and we humbly ask that all that we do would glorify your Son's name. And in his name I pray, amen.
Amen.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Also, I know there's going to be a lot of different opinions. There's going to be a lot of questions that you won't agree with the answer. And like Will started off saying, I just hope and ask that everyone accepts, even if you don't agree with the answer that you received tonight, please keep it civil. No one's here. I know a lot of people here. I don't know everyone, but people I do know are going to be honest. They're not going to pull any punches, but I ask that we just respect each other.
The purpose of tonight's meeting is to bring some organization to, yes. Oh, yes, allegiance. Thank you. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, if you're an elected official in Han County, please raise your hand. So if I understand, are you Andrew?
Commitment.
Commitment? Okay. So the people who have raised their hand by default, if my understanding is correct, are part of the central committee for the county. Anybody do any different than that? It's also what statute says. So when the time comes for people to vote, who gets to vote?
Those people residing in Lane County.
Just the elected voters in Han County.
Residing in Lane County.
Okay? So how many of you fit that description? So we got somebody that's going to record this, correct? We're still on board with that. So should we know
in Han County, is that what
if
he's
there's
saying?
a vote that takes place, whether or not you're. So I didn't bring a voter registration list. I'm not going to be the voter registration cop, so hopefully you'll be honest about that. I've been asked to moderate the beginning of the meeting, so that's what I am doing. My name is Doug DeBoer. I'm the county auditor here. And the next item on the agenda is to determine by consensus the temporary chair for the election of the secretary and chair for the election officers, vice chair, treasurer, election of committee men and committee women, and then the election of state committee men and committee women. So,
So can I interject a little bit?
yes.
Right.
So we just want to start out by saying, I know the Kent County has tried a couple of times to have a organizational meeting. So one was during session. JD and I weren't able to attend that. I don't know if we did have a meeting or not, but it wasn't called by the state chair at that time. At the end of session, we have a new state chair. Senator John Wick is now the chairman of the GOP. And so just in the last few weeks, started organization for a second opportunity. Neither Representative Wagner or I were invited to that, and so there is a notification requirement. And so with former President Trump coming to town, or coming to the state anyway, Chair Wick said, let's wait till after so we have time. And so as far as today is concerned, Chairman Wick wasn't able to be here today. This is not an organizational meeting as far as the Republican Party is concerned. We can do whatever we want to do. We can do some education. We can do some topics. We can do whatever we want to do. But I just want everyone to know going into the conversation, okay? You all just need to know going into the conversation. Whatever we do tonight will not be recognized by the Republican Party for the state of South Dakota. Give us a month. It'll all be taken care of. We'll have a formal meeting at that time.
We've been giving John Wick a month since January. Every month we talked to him several times. He's not gonna do this for whatever reason. He doesn't like the vote or whatever that is. It's old. It's getting ridiculous.
I have a commitment from Wick that we will have a meeting here before the end of the year, in October or, I don't know, November, but he just said, right now, he can't do it, and so we're not gonna do it right now. And so, I just want everyone to know, we have a process, we're gonna get there. The difference between today and tomorrow and the next day, I don't know if that makes a big difference to anyone. But the opportunity for us to be organized, we're gonna be there. We're gonna be there long before the next election.
The interesting part about that is he could have designated either one of you to do that, and now you're both here and you didn't do that. Why not?
The whole time that he has claimed that he doesn't have time, he's made us promise after promise after promise that haven't been fulfilled. All he's got to do is designate that responsibility, and he refused to do so. And I don't think the people of Van County should be disenfranchised their vote at a central committee meeting or anywhere else because of the chairman's inaction. And this does not come as a surprise to any of us. A couple weeks ago, JD and I talked on the phone, and JD said to me, he says, you know why this is happening? It was because of your votes at convention. It's like, so do we have a system in America where we discuss things, nominate people, make motions, and then vote on them, or do we not? Chairman Wick, to continually exclude Han County and several other counties because of their vote at convention, my God, what's wrong with America? What's wrong with our Republican Party if we can't vote our conscience as committeemen and committeewomen?
So yeah, I did say that, and there are a lot of things that came out of what happened at the convention last year. There was laws coming through the state and everything else that came from what happened at the convention. So that convention, is the Republican Party that's supposed to be run from the top down, and they're the ones, the county committees are supposed to facilitate and help work with the state committee, not go against it. So if there are repercussions from that, it makes sense, because there was a lot of things that the state party weren't sanctioning. So now what I got brought into this, I didn't know anything about this organization stuff here until just a few weeks ago. And so Wick has been talking to me, he has some more information he wants, and some more names, he wants a better cross-section of what the county is, and that's why he did not designate it. He specifically told me I was not designated. That's him, and that's what he's doing. But it's a state party, and they're the ones that run the county parties. So I'm going that direction, not from the bottom up. So
Unfortunately, I don't vote the way somebody tells me I have to vote.
that's
It's
not,
never gonna happen. That's exactly what you just said, from the top down. Everybody in here is an individual voice. I don't think anybody in here votes exactly the same on every issue. And there's no reason they need to.
referring to policy and things like that, and I'm not saying you gotta vote the way somebody tells you to vote. But when
It
you,
sure sounded like what you said.
you can interpret it however you want. But I'm trying to tell you how the system works. It starts from the top and works its way down. So it's out of, you don't just force it up the chain.
So what's the point of having local committees if you're gonna be told to sit down and shut up?
It's,
No one is saying,
nobody's, that's.
no one is saying.
Well,
That's
if
what
they,
I'm saying.
if they got repercussions from how they dealt at a state convention.
The comment about the state convention was, as a county, 80% of our residents in Han County voted for Governor Newsom. But at convention, I don't remember what the number was, 70-some% of our precinct people voted for Howgard for lieutenant governor, which is a constitutional office. That's where the conversation comes in, is what is the concept of the state party when the state party, when the leader of the party doesn't have the following, has the votes, but the precinct didn't follow what the populace vote is. So that's where that conversation is. That has nothing to do with our organization of Han County. But I want everyone to know,
Brian, I don't think that vote was, 6 votes from Hank County and the rest were voting for the party line. I think it was probably 60-40, so it's not like that's an unusual happening. Is that right? I mean, it was
for
for
the lieutenant governor, you mean?
I'm talking about in this last election, it was not, that Han County was the only ones that voted for it.
No, a number of different counties also voted for it, and that's certainly okay. The fact of the matter is if you're a precinct person and you represent your county, okay, clearly the precinct people votes did not represent the vote from the county. Howgard got less than 20% of the populace vote, but yet he got 5/6 of the precinct vote. That's all that piece. That's where Representative Langless was talking about. That's got nothing to do with organizational, but from the standpoint of, can there be a bird in the saddle? Yeah, there can be a bird in the saddle. Certainly can be.
And you don't think putting this off for the better part of a year isn't gonna increase that?
I can tell you that Wick was voted chair in March. So wherever the conversation of the year and whatever goes, that's not accurate. He got voted in March.
January. I was at the meeting in January. I'm Fred Widener from Tripp County, and we've been working with Mr. Wick since he was voted in. That's in January 16th, and they were 14. And he has given us nothing but the runaround in Tripp County. I mean, it's insane. I mean, here, we have, you know, we're not represented at all in Tripp County either. And he promised every time I'd call him, I don't know, I've called him a dozen times, every time, oh, I promise I'll come down. I haven't talked to your president yet. I said, well, he's not that hard to get a hold of. I've talked to him a dozen times, but he's a liar. That's what he is. I'm sorry.
Point blank, Wick is a liar.
He
made
does
so many
not
promises.
even intend to come down and
He
help
has
us
no
out.
intent.
And
of
Tom
organizing
Bruder
this.
is willing to come down. I talked to Tom and he said, I'll be there tomorrow if Wick gives me permission. So he's a liar.
The fact that you two are sitting here tonight, asking for more time, well, that just tells us we're not gonna see anything happen. Who knows how long? You guys-
Fact of the matter is, I learned about the organizational meeting about 2 weeks ago, less than 2 weeks ago. So, I mean, we can talk about history, but
What's the requirement?
Right.
It's arbitrary.
5 days?
When they put this together, you guys tell me if I'm wrong, you guys put it in the paper, right? Right, it was in the paper for our organization, it wasn't like anybody discounted anybody,
right.
you know, so nobody was trying to discount anybody from doing it.
It was in the paper this time as well.
Yeah. And as far as like the governor being able to pick the lieutenant governor, that happened in the convention the time before, and Han County voted for it, and we voted for it. I wish that you would just change the damn law, and if the governor is able to pick, has a running mate, and they run on the same ticket. I don't know, that's something that can't be done. And then these kind of issues wouldn't be.
Yeah.
But everybody has a chance to go to convention and vote. I mean, that's what you're there for. And, you know, so some people had valid reasons for it. mean, I don't know what the answer for all that is, but I mean, if you're gonna have a convention, what's the sense of having a convention? You know, I mean, everybody's just gonna go vote for, I mean, that's just an implication of the election that you had before. So I guess that's what I'm a little confused about. But it wasn't a thing where I'm wondering, I want to see you guys know.
I'm from Bonham County. What I don't understand is, you said you're gonna hold an election in a couple months. Aren't the same people who are gonna vote in that election exactly the same people who are here tonight?
Yes.
And so it's an arbitrary decision that you're making to not hold it tonight, because it's the same group of people who are gonna vote the same way. So it's a political decision to not have these people enfranchised in Hammond County for the upcoming summer meeting. That is a political decision that's being made here, okay? You have to acknowledge that that is what's being done. The same people tonight are gonna be the same people you're gonna convene in 2 or 3 months, and there's no reason you can't vote tonight.
What's our purpose here tonight? What do we wanna do? We want to what?
You wanna organize your
We wanna
county.
organize what?
Your county, your,
We wanna organize our county for what?
To have our voice.
for representation.
Of what? We wanna organize our county to what?
Well, tell us, Brian.
To be a Republican. And yet, we could care less about our lion chair of the Republican Party? I mean, doesn't that make
No,
a
you're missing the point.
You're missing the point.
I would guess
The same
The
people are
chair
gonna
should be here.
You're gonna convince the people that are here to vote differently in 3 months, is what you're telling me, because they're
I'm
gonna
not
vote.
saying anything like that.
That's what you're implying.
What I'm saying
Because
is,
otherwise you vote tonight.
if we want to be a Republican Party, if we want to be a unified Republican Party, wouldn't we want to have a chair, a voice, and a chance to visit with the chair of the party?
We have on the phone,
Yes,
all the time.
I've sent John Wick, at the request of the other committeeman and committeeman, I've sent John Wick emails that he has never responded to. I've sent him text messages that he's never responded to. What do we have to do? Are you and JD saying we have to ask your permission before we can organize Hammond County? If he.
What we're saying is we are elected officials within the county. I work with John Wick very closely. I got text messages from him today, I got emails from him last week. We're communicating regularly.
So then.
I'm not saying-
Then Brian and set up a date.
That's what we're doing. That's what we're
Then
doing.
what's the date?
I don't care the date.
I think that's what they're trying to do here, is build that bridge between the two.
But anyway, you
Well,
guys can
it wouldn't
simply
be
do
here.
this right now. All you would have had to done was tell him, we'll take care of it.
And I didn't do that. I didn't think in advance. And I apologize. Didn't think in advance. But I think it would be good if we could get
Why
John
don't you get him
Wick
on the
here.
phone?
So you can share your frustration.
Brian, will you call, Chairman Wick and ask him if he will designate you to chair our meeting?
He's made it very clear he's not designating anybody.
He wants to meet with you. He wants to be here.
Call Chairman Wick.
He's told us so many times he will, but he doesn't. We're disenfranchised as Republicans that don't have a voice in our Republican Party, in our Central Committee meeting. The Republican Party asked for our donations, the Republican Party asked for our votes, but they won't allow us to have a voice. That's the problem. How long would you suggest we wait before we take action on our own if the chairman won't do it?
I'm gonna speculate we have this done yet in September. But what he told me was because of the Trump visit and this and that and everything he's gotta do to coordinate that, it can't happen until after the 10th. Because that's.
The bylaws say he can
I'm gonna
designate.
take you guys at face
I don't buy
value.
all this.
They say that you're being honest about it.
He's not.
But these are the same things he's been telling us since January. Same things. I've talked to him on the phone, texted back and forth, email back and forth. It's the same stuff that you're telling us right now. I don't see that changing. I'm gonna take you guys at face value.
I'm gonna say he'll be here.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, that's a load of crap. That's what I'm telling you.
really spent
Brian, he told me,
a hell of a lot of hours with him.
he told me, during the winter season, he'll say, man, I'm really busy up here, I'm pulling trucks out of the ditch all the time. As soon as it slows down a bit, man, we'll be over there and get that done. And then it was, well, we're taking care of a county down south. We're gonna take care of them first, and then we'll get you guys. Well, they haven't got down to you.
We've been working with him since you got in January. That's January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. This is September already. And he's been promising, I wouldn't work for him if I were you. I mean, you're not, you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
The fact that he can designate
You're doing his bidding.
responsibility to organize a county, and he refuses to do that, leaves me to believe nothing but the fact that he has no intention. If he can designate, Rich. Rich is our regional director. He could designate Rich, say, Rich, I'm so busy, get down there and get Hamilton County put together for me, will you? What is he going to come and talk to us about at Han County that will make any difference in organizing Han County?
There's four
And if
I
it's-
can't answer that question. I got involved with this to try and to get in between and hopefully get something done.
if there-
But I can only tell you what he's told me.
There's 4 people sitting in this room right now, he could have designated, Doug, you, and right over there. He could have done that already, this could have been done. Hell, we already had this meeting once before, we've already voted for the people that have stepped up to fill the positions. Now we found more people that are willing to do it, and they're probably just as happy as we are.
in just the last few days, we've got several people to step up, fill the rest of the committeemen and committee women positions, or I believe the rest of them, we don't have nominations yet. The point is, we're working to try to get Han County's voice back, and yet we're ignored, we're censored, we're silenced. I've stated before, I'm not the guy to tell to sit down and shut up. I won't put up with it. We deserve representation for the people. And when you say that it's a top-down system, that's bullshit. Excuse the language, that's bullshit.
We're trying to work with
It's-
between here and trying to
It's,
get
it's
this
a
thing
government
set up.
of the people, by the people, for the people. And when you change the last sentence to the people, we've got a problem.
Well, I mean, you guys can have your elections and do whatever you wanna do, but if the state chair doesn't recognize it, and if the state Senate committee doesn't recognize it, it's all for naught.
I believe we can vote on it on the floor.
As like a younger person of the party, I was in a different party at one time. To me, I think that Mr. Wade needs to understand the message that this sends to people like you and I. When it's so hard to get the involvement from the younger people, and then you come here and we can't get a state chair here to reconvene. Okay, that to me as a young person who has little itty bitty kids that I'm raising up in this scary world, that says to me that my voice doesn't matter. And that says to me that our Republican Party here in Han County, which obviously so many people are fighting to keep and to reconvene, to have the togetherness, to have their voices heard, to reach out to more, to bring them in. It's really hard to get people to come in if you're gonna, or I shouldn't say if you're going to, if he's going to shut everybody out. Because to me it goes, what are we doing here? You know, and I think that's the frustrations that they're trying to convey right now, is that in order for them to have their kids be more involved in the party, in order for them and eventually their grandkids to be more involved in the party, there has to be a local unit to start with. And if he's not willing to come out here and meet with people and just dug in a hole and hide behind a title, then that makes it really difficult on our end to keep the involvement, I think is what the frustrations are, deep down in the team.
Yeah, and obviously, there's been a lot of education in the recent days, weeks, months, whatever. I can tell you that Chairman Quick is very devoted to the Republican Party for the state of South Dakota. He wants to get all of the counties organized as much as possible. And so clearly that will happen. It just, we need to include all the folks in the party, in the county, to go ahead and recognize that. And so as a result, take my pledge. I'll have John Wick here before the end of the year. I'm not gonna say September here, but, because, there's only 3 weeks left. But we'll have them here, and we'll be organized. that, you know, some folks are frustrated in the county. And that there's,
Multiple counties.
I'm not really focused on other counties. I appreciate them being here. I'm focused on organizing Han County.
It's obviously not just a one county thing.
Yeah, I'm focused on organizing Han County.
But I think that it's probably a pretty urgent matter that should be at the top of his agenda with the turnout tonight from other counties in South Dakota. That, to me, it's just really sad, you know, that this many counties are trying to fight to reconvene so that they can have their say and so that they can be a part of the Republican Party. And to me, it's like a door just being slammed in their face, and that's just really sad.
Yeah, I think you're taking some assumptions and putting those in people's mouths or decision making or whatever. So I encourage you to temper some of that a little bit. You'll learn a little more.
Let's go over here.
Senator, Lee Kwong, Charles Mix County, I'm the chair down there. I was House Majority Leader. I've known John Wick for a long time. I visited with him on numerous occasions about this since March. I'm appalled at what he's not doing. He has made every excuse in the book, but not one of them worth 2 cents for not organizing these counties. I have offered to go over to Tripp County. Just give me the authority to go do it. I'll go do it. We'll get it taken care of. There's people that want to do it. What he's doing is nothing. I don't care. You can make all the excuses you want to, but there's none of them that are worth 2 cents. They don't mean anything. He has chosen not to organize these counties, and I don't know why. I don't know where it's coming from. I don't understand it. He made a comment to me. He said, I don't understand why these people want to get organized so bad. And I said, John, these people want to have a voice. That's all they're looking for is a voice. He won't give it to them. So I don't care what you guys say that you didn't know, and I understand because I was in the legislature too, and I didn't know when all the meetings were, but they were all put in the paper. All I had to do is go look. So it was my fault that I didn't know whenever a meeting was. It's nobody that they didn't contact you because that's not how this works. It can be an email, it can be in the paper, whichever way you decide to do it. Well, what the chairman is doing is flat wrong.
I got a question.
And it's arbitrary.
Yes.
It's arbitrary.
Wick's only been there since January. What about the previous chairman, before that? It's been a lot of years since Han County's not been organized, so what?
We didn't ask to be organized.
That shouldn't the chairman in the previous, why is all the heat coming on Wick?
Because now they want to get organized. It doesn't make any difference if a county doesn't want to, should Lederman have contacted him about getting organized? Well, maybe he did, and they didn't want to. You know, Tripp County was organized, and the people that were there were just, they didn't want to be involved, they don't want to do anything. Now we got a different bunch of people that want to be involved, and want to do something, so now is the time. And since Wick is the chair, he's responsible. He's the man. So it doesn't matter what happened previously. That's water under the bridge. It doesn't make a nickel's worth of difference.
Lederman is culpable. It took me a year and a half from inception to organize Bonham County. And I had to embarrass him at the state convention to make it happen.
So that's what I'm trying to get at with my question. So it does matter what's gone on before, so apparently there's been a problem in the party for some time.
Yes, it has.
Okay.
Because these are the thing you're missing, these are arbitrary decisions made by the state chairman. Now, the bylaws give him that authority to a degree, except that organizing inactive counties uses the word may, not shall. May is a fuzz word. If it says shall, that would be a different story, okay? It's the same group of people gonna vote this time as will vote 2 or 3 months hence. It's ridiculous because it's an arbitrary decision being made that the votes that you take tonight don't count, but the votes 3 months will, when the same people are gonna vote the same way 3 months hence. It's arbitrary. It's absurd.
When we organized in January and went here with an attempt to get on the floor and be recognized, and David Wheeler, who was our then district representative, took me aside and we kept everything civil, but he explained to me that, I said, but the bylaws say that the chairman may. It doesn't say that the chairman shall. I said, it says that the chairman may. I said, so why, if it doesn't say that he shall, why can't we just do it on our own? He says, because it's the chairman's ultimate decision whether he wants to organize a county or not. What the hell is wrong with that thought process? The chairman gets to decide if he wants to organize a county of people that wanna participate in their party, that's foolishness. That's foolishness that the chairman may, if he feels like it, but he doesn't have to. That is exactly what Senator Wheeler told me. How can you explain that? How can you explain the logic of, well, he can if he wants to, but he doesn't have to? And Wheeler is on the bylaws committee.
Andrew.
And Doug read that when we organized the meeting, in January, it was called, put in the paper, and Doug read the bylaws. And we read right down the rules, and just kind of wake everybody up, figure out what's going on. Because there was no Republican Party for the last 3 years. So we've been going to convention, this is twice for me, and would that be like 8 years? 4 and 4, yeah, or no, 4. And there's no, and I didn't even realize that we didn't have a Republican group here. So when these guys talked about getting it together, I thought that'd be good, that'd be great. So, I mean, and I think that's what it, did you guys, you contacted him back in January to come to our meeting?
Whip?
Yeah.
Yes. I contacted him.
It was a Wednesday night during the session.
Right, but they had to have it done, in the bylaws, does it say that you guys don't have to do it in a certain amount of time?
Oh, there's,
We require, we have meetings that doesn't really set a designated time for organization.
Right, so you can do it,
We've let him off the hook so many times. We said, we'll wait till after session. We'll wait till after you're done towing cars out of the ditch. We'll wait until after this. I said, John, just set a date. I said, I'm okay with, just set a date. And if something comes up that we have to reschedule, we're fine with that. He will not set a date. He has no intention. You can't convince me differently.
He told me the same thing. We'll set, I said, set a date. Oh, okay, set a date. I'll call you. Well, he never called me once.
Brian, you said you'll have it here.
I said when?
You said that you would have it here, and I trust you. I believe it, and I believe you, JD. The question that I've got, we've been going around and around, let's nail this down. Does the state chairman, through the power of his office, does he, with the authority of his office rather, is he the one that has to decide, that has the deciding vote on how the county is organized, or does he not? Does he have to be here or send a delegate to give his blessing? Or can we organize and then go to the committee, the central committee, and say, please recognize us? But does he have-
State chair needs to recognize, so either he's here in person or he is a designated.
Now, now this is where we're going around, this is one question, is that actually what's written into the Constitution of bylaws for the Republican Party, that it has to be approved by the state chair, period, end of discussion? He's the one.
It is
Or
fuzzy.
she.
May
The
I read
bylaws are
that, may I read the
Sure.
bylaws to
Please.
you that has that section? It says, and this is in regards, this is section 3, I believe it is.
39B.
39B, in regards to inactive counties, which is what Han County is. The state chairman or the state chairman's designee may call and preside over a meeting of the county central committee of the inactive county for the purpose of electing officers. That's what it says, may call and preside. Does it say shall?
Nope.
No. It does not say shall. It does not say they have to. My name is Janet Jensen. I'm the state committee woman for Pennington County. And I just want you guys to know that there have been other counties that have been organized. Tripp County came to me at the convention. They asked, what do we need to do to get organized? I know they have been asking for months prior to the convention. Yes, Chair Lederman was in charge then. He chose. We know of counties that were organized prior to the convention. I can give you some names. We know of counties that have been organized prior to the January Central Committee, that your Central Committee was denied entry. We know that there are some counties getting organized. We know there are some counties that are not getting organized. That's not right. That is not right.
So there's
It's arbitrary.
There's conflicting language in the bylaws. because section 155, state chairman shall coordinate and supervise the work of other officers and the county central committees. So that conflicts with the reorganization part. So which one takes precedent?
Are you saying section 1? Because I
Section
believe,
155.
I believe,
That's vague. The specifics are in 3(9)(b), dealing with the election of the officers of a
That's where
county.
the question comes
just a
in.
minute, you
Which
said
one
section
preempts?
1? Which?
Section 1.
Details always preempt generality. Details always preempt generality, okay?
So I agree, this one's more detailed.
What is the
That's
section?
That's under duties of the officer.
No, 3(9)(b) talks specifically to organizing inactive counties.
Section
The other
1
ones are all general.
Section 1 has to do with counties that are organized.
At the end of the day, it comes down
That's
to,
correct.
at the end of the day, it comes down to, do we wanna have Han County Republican, organizational group?
I have a question of her. Which counties were actually organized?
We know that Tripp County ended up being organized, even though they were inactive. And we had Tripp County people calling. I had actually sent emails to Chairman Wick also, telling him I would be willing to help in whatever way I can to help these counties get organized. We know Falk County ended up getting organized, we know Minor County got organized. Off the top of my head, I honestly can't remember, but we know that we know that Tripp County got organized.
Illegally.
Tripp
Illegally.
County didn't even get notice. Their
Right.
committee didn't get proper notice.
Well, their committee was cherry-picked so that the end result of the vote was what they wanted going in.
And
That's how it
why
was
is it,
handled.
why is it important?
We were
Why is it
told
important
we'd
that
be
you guys
invited, but
might
we weren't
be
told about the
able?
meeting.
Why is it important? You were saying, what makes the difference between doing it tonight or doing it later? What makes the difference is your vote and your representation at the state central committee meeting that is going to be held
Saturday.
Saturday. That's the difference.
Right, so, I think you started this by asking us to throw out a nomination for a chair. And I guess that's what I'm gonna do.
Right. And Brian, I will state that I will have no respect for you as my representative if you don't get John Wick on the phone and say, John, these guys really want to be organized and have their voice. Will you please designate me to chair this meeting? Don't keep making excuses for him. Get him on the phone.
I'm not gonna call him tonight and ask him to designate me on the site. So, that's not gonna happen.
So
What I am saying,
You're losing my respect as
and that's
my
okay.
representative.
That's
But-
enough, that's enough.
Hey,
That's enough.
Before you make it, guys, please go back. Guys, we all need to calm down. And we need to realize what's actually at stake. And I'm with you. But we need to realize, and I'm with you. But we need to realize what is at stake here. Now, we are arguing back and forth about whether the chairman is going to recognize this party. Well, this party is already organized. We had an election.
Yes, we did in January.
And I can tell you right now, some things need to change. One thing needs to change is the Constitution and bylaws need to be firmed up. And if somebody's got a burr under their saddle, I think there's a phrase used, and how we voted at the convention, well, the lieutenant governor needs to be voted in the primaries. Frankly, it was the first convention I ever went to, and I was shocked that I was the one that helped make that decision. There were less than 1,000 people in that room, and yet I was the one that voted for Rhoda.
Yes, he did.
But these were the people that were elected to go, and they decided to vote for Howland. I never can get a pronunciation right up here. But Halgard. Never can get pronunciation. I apologize. But I respect them for that. That's how, but they were elected to do that. But right now, guys, if we don't stop this and come together, if Chairman Wick doesn't recognize the party, and we need to be respectful for him too. There needs to be a meeting of the minds here, because Chairman Wick's not the enemy. Chairman Wick, he shouldn't be, and we're not he shouldn't be.
I know he shouldn't be.
But if we do not get this, but if we do not act reasonably.
He could be a hero if he organized these counties.
I mean, if he won't do it, then there's a mechanism in place to change that. But
That is his second command saying right over there. Basically. These two guys are his other representatives, and he's already got what he needs here.
guys,
He doesn't care to come sit.
this needs to stop. This needs to stop. And we need to focus on what the real problem is. The real problem is, let's be honest with you, why are we here as Republicans? It's the Democrats. My Lord, take a look at them.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I mean, and I'm telling you that from somebody that everybody in my family until I started voting was a Democrat. My Lord!
Don't we need all our Republicans to vote the Democrats out?
Yes.
Then we gotta
need to
organize
come-
these
we need to come
counties.
together and stop this. I'm sorry
That's
that
why we
people,
need to
but
organize.
Okay.
anyway, I've had that.
I'm still gonna make a motion,
Not yet.
oh my goodness.
Nobody nominated me. I want to remain as objective as possible as the county auditor. So I'm not interested in holding any position in the county clerk.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
are you ready now?
Please.
Can I, one more thing? Again, you've got my pledge, we will be organized formally the correct way before the end of the year. You can proceed forward and elect folks tonight, you can show up at the central committee, you can try to get in, if they let you in, great, if they don't let you in, it is what it is.
Hey,
But I just want to let you know,
thanks for coming
there is a process, if you want our help,
Thanks,
to use the
Brian.
process.
I appreciate you guys coming here tonight. I'm disappointed a little bit that you guys aren't fighting hard to make this happen, because I'm sure that you two have known about this since January 12th. But anyway, so I'm gonna make a motion, and I'm gonna nominate Jim Eschenbaum
Okay,
to be our chair.
do you have that? Okay. Is there any other nominations from the floor?
I will second.
I gotta ask for nominations. Are there any other nominations from the floor? Third and final time, are there any nominations from the floor? There being only one nomination for Jim Eschenbaum, is there a second?
Second.
Okay. So, with that being said, there's a motion, and a second, to nominate Jim Eschenbaum, and then we want to propose a motion that nomination cease and the unanimous ballot cast.
I'll make the nomination, motion cease. You can't. I can't?
Not yet.
No, I'm sorry, go ahead. I would make that motion, the nomination cease.
You would? Why don't you want him to do it?
Because he's not elected.
Is there a second? Liz Dodson, like a second?
I'll second.
Gina, second. Sir, Andy, you got the elected. Any discussion from the floor? All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? You guys have it. Kevin, your next action.
I don't have the next time.
You don't? That was it?
The chairman does.
One hit wonder?
That's his job.
Chairman does.
Jim? Want to come up or you want to stay there?
Fine here.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Pardon? I guess as the duly nominated and elected chair for a second time, can I get nominations for a secretary secretary. I'll ask one more time, are there any other nominations for a secretary for the Hampton County Party? Hearing no more nominations, I would accept the motion that nominations cease for secretary.
So moved.
And so second.
Okay, nominations cease. All in favor of Kate Selling as secretary, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Congratulations, Kate.
Thanks.
You just realize you're walking such a beat. Thank you for stepping up to participate. We need motions for a vice chair. Do I hear motions for a vice chair?
I nominate Sandy Selting.
Are there any more nominations for a vice chair? A second to that nomination. Thank you. Any more nominations for a vice chair? This is last call for nominations for vice chair.
Mr. Chairman, I move the nomination cease and unanimous ballot be cast.
Is there a second to that motion? Got a motion and a second? All in favor? Vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations. We're gonna need a treasurer.
Mr. Chairman, I nominate Will Page to be the treasurer.
I second that.
Are there any more nominations for treasurer? One more call, to nominate a treasurer. Hearing none, I would accept the motion that nomination cease.
Mr. Chairman, I move the nomination cease and unanimous ballot be cast.
I'll second.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. All in favor of Pastor Will Page being treasurer, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Lou, you got a job to do. We do have some vacant, committee men and committee women positions. And it is my understanding that according to the bylaws that we can fill those by an election. Precinct one, we have neither a committee man or a committee woman.
I would like to nominate, sorry, I would like to nominate Mike Rowe. for
As
committee
committee man,
And Pam Rowe as committee.
a double nomination. We've got a nomination for Mike Rowe, precinct one committeeman. Is there a second to that nomination?
Thank you.
We've got a second from Kevin Watts. Are there any more nominations for precinct one committeeman? One more call for nominations for precinct one committeeman. Hearing none, I would accept a motion to cease nominations.
I'll make that motion.
I so second.
Motion and a second. All in favor of Mike Vernon for precinct one committeeman, indicate by saying aye. Precinct one committee woman. We have nominations for a precinct one committee woman.
I'd like to nominate Pam Wood. I'd like to nominate Pam Wood.
There's a nomination for Pam Whittle. Do I have a second? Motion and a second. Are there any other nominations for precinct one committee woman? Any other nominations for precinct one committee woman? Hearing none, I will accept the motion, nomination cease.
Mr. Chairman, I move that nomination cease and examine this ballot cast.
Second.
Got a motion? And second? All in favor of Pam Wordle as precinct one committee woman, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you for stepping up. We have a vacancy for a committee woman in precinct two. Kevin Watts is the committeeman, and we have a vacancy for precinct committee woman. Do I hear nominations for a precinct two committee woman?
I nominate Darlene Rose. Sorry, Cameron.
I'd second that.
We have a nomination and a second. Are there any more nominations for a precinct two committee woman?
What do they have to do?
Well, we used to think about a convention and vote, that's about it.
No, you gotta find the right page.
Do we have any more nominations for a precinct two committee woman? One final call. Hearing none, I would accept the motion that nominations cease. Motion by Will. Second by Kevin. All in favor of Darlene Hammer as precinct two committee woman, indicate by saying aye.
Aye. Jesse said not to take an office.
Well, you two don't tell him.
Like, let's see things have changed much, so.
Darlene, thank you for stepping up. Precinct three, we have Phil. Will Page is committeeman. Tammy Lepke is committee woman. Precinct four, my wife Teresa has been committee woman. She is asked to step down. I have been precinct four committeeman, and I will step down as chairman. I don't think we need to hold two offices. So precinct four is open. Do I hear nominations for precinct four committeeman?
I nominate Jeff Schwartz.
Second.
Nomination and a second for Jeff Schwartz. Do I hear any other nominations for precinct four committee? One more call for precinct four committeeman. Do I hear a motion to nomination cease?
Mr. Chairman, I move that nomination cease and examine this ballot cast.
Motion by Doug, second by Kevin. All in favor of Jeff Schwartz as precinct four committeeman, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
We have a vacancy for precinct four committee woman.
Nominate Amber Wordle.
Second.
Amber Wordle. We have a nomination and a second for Amber Wordle. Are there any other nominations for precinct four committee woman? last call for nominations for precinct 4 committee woman. Hearing none, I will accept the motion that nominations cease.
Mr. Chairman, I move that nomination cease.
We have a motion from Doug, a second from Will Page. All in favor of Amber Wordle as precinct 4 committee woman, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
We have a vacancy in precinct 5 for committee woman, or precinct 5 committee man, is Andy Cannon. So I will open the floor for nominations for precinct 5 committee woman.
I make a motion that we nominate Kristen Kolda.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Got a motion and a second for Kristen Kola. Are there any other nominations for precinct 5 committee woman? Final call for precinct 5 committee woman. I would accept the motion that nomination cease.
Get the vote.
I so moved.
Motion by Wells, second by Kevin Watts. All in favor of Kristen Gola as precinct 5 committee woman, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And just like that, without Mr. Wick, we have filled all of our precinct committee woman and committee woman spots. We filled all of our offices. We will, again, pardon?
State committee.
Oh, yes, correct. That's the backside of my agenda. On Stu's suggestion, we should nominate a state committeeman. So I'd open the floor for nominations for Anne County State Committeeman.
So this can't be somebody that is already a
Yeah.
It's one of the committeemen, one of the 5 committeemen
Yeah.
has to be a state committeeman. We have, person?
Oh, I nominate Kevin. Well, we went through this in January, right? Well, same thing we just did. Their state committee, Kevin.
Kevin was state committeeman, or case. Kevin? Are you sure you want pants and not shorts? Kevin was state committeeman.
I nominate Will Page if you don't wanna do it.
I'll second that.
There, we have a motion and a second for Pastor Will Page for state committeeman.
And he gets to go to Rapid City for the summer meeting.
Is he the treasurer?
Yes.
The treasurer kind of did it.
Oh,
He can as treasurer?
No.
I don't think so.
We had a secretary treasurer.
Okay. Well, so Pastor Will is out of the question. The floor is still open for nominations for state committeemen.
I nominate Mike Wardle.
I second it.
We've got a nomination and a second for Mike Wardle. Are there any more nominations for state committeemen? Final call for nominations for state committeemen. Hearing none, I would accept a motion that nomination cease.
So moved. Second.
All in favor of Mike Wardle as state committeeman, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Mike, whether you intend to volunteer for that or not.
I'm gonna have to double check on the work to make sure it's okay.
We need a state committee woman. I would open the floor for nominations for state committee woman.
We're-
I nominate Pam Wardle.
We've got a nomination and a second for Pam Wardle. Are there any more nominations for state committee woman?
Who's the second?
Kevin. Kevin did. Final call for nominations for state committee woman. Hearing none, I would accept the motion that nomination cease.
So moved. Second.
Pastor Will, second by Kevin Watts. All in favor of Pam Wardle as state committee woman, indicate by saying aye.
Aye. Thanks, Pam.
The next agenda item is new business and discussion. Kate, the secretary, I would ask you to get the names